अच्छा चलो starting with this one. ठीक है, this is summer 2312. ठीक है, एक सेकंड let me add some people. अच्छा, summer 2312. Starting with the first question, which when chlorine gas is analyzed in a mass spectrometer, the ions are detected. Which row is correct? So number of neutrons in Cl, so that's easy. Number of neutrons kya honge? That's Cl is, I think the proton number is 17. So the number of neutrons in this case is 18, right? And the electronic configuration, it's supposed to have 17 electrons plus 1 means that it's got 16 electrons. Okay, so what is the electronic configuration of 16 electrons? That's going to be, we just have to total them up. It's probably going to be this one. Okay, that's 16 electrons, so it's going to be C. Clear here?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, next one. Which species is a free radical, right? So what is a free radical? It's something that's got unpaired electrons, right? It's something that's very reactive and it's got unpaired electrons. Now, helium definitely isn't because it's 1s2. Beryllium is in group. In what group is it? I think it's in group 2, right? So group 2, the outer electronic configuration of group 2 is supposed to be s2, right? But since it's got one extra electron, so it's going to be s2 p1. So that means it will have an unpaired electron. Okay. So ye clear kar lo कि what I did over here was that instead of writing the whole electronic configuration, remember group 2 is going to be s2. -1 means one extra electron, so it's going to be s2p1. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Achha, which statement is correct? The first ionization energy of chlorine is more than the first ionization energy of argon. They're actually in the same they're in the same period. So it's sodium and then it's magnesium. After that it's aluminium. Then you have silicon, then phosphorus. Then you have dip aati hai sulfur, chlorine, and then argon, right? Okay, that's how ionization energies vary across the period. Achha, so which statement is correct? Chlorine is over here. Argon is over there. So ye to galat hai. The first one is wrong, right? Achha, the second ionization energy of calcium is more than the second ionization energy of magnesium. Achha, now these two are in the same group. Okay, they're in the same group. Magnesium is on top and calcium is the lower one, right? It's going to be easier to remove electrons from calcium. Why? Because of more shielding. Okay, calcium says it's going to be easier. It's going to be more shielding, and the distance is going to be bigger as well. So easy hoga, so it's not going to be more. Okay, so it won't be calcium. Whereas the second ionization energy of sulfur is equal to the first ionization energy of phosphorus. Is that going to be true?
No.
I think it's not going to be true. Or at least we can't really confirm it's going to be true. Okay, all ionization energies, they tend to be different from each other. Okay. So next is the answer. D is going to be the answer. What is D? The eighth ionization energy of chlorine is more than the first ionization energy of neon. Which is true because 8 ka kya matlab hai ki it means that Cl is already +7, right? So you're trying to remove electrons from Cl +7. Neon's first ionization energy. So basically you're removing electrons from a neon atom, right? So what is the electronic configuration of Cl over here? It's going to be, it has 17 electrons, but +7 means that it will have 10 electrons, right? Neon ka jo proton number hai, that is 10. And you're removing the first electron, so it also has 10 electrons, right? So that means both are isoelectronic. That means both of them have exactly the same number of electrons. But since Cl has got 17 protons, so it's got a much higher nuclear charge. So removing these electrons is going to be very, very difficult, okay? Compared to neon, because neon only has 10 protons. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
So next one. If 1 mole of hexane combusts in excess of oxygen, how many moles of products are formed? So you now you need to know what hexane is. To get 6 carbon atoms and it's an alkane. So wo kya hoga? 14. Excess oxygen, so it's complete combustion. So you just have to like balance this equation.
Sir, I'm getting C. 13.
C. 6 plus 7, 13, right? So it's C. As a moles aa gaya. 1 gram of the compounds listed are treated with an excess of dilute acid. So what happens? Which compound releases the largest amount of CO2? As a first thing, it's clear. I don't think you have to really solve the moles question because ratio wise, all of them are going to release the same amount of CO2, right? Because wo compound ke andar, there's only 1 carbon, right? So the ratio is going to be that 1 compound will release 1. It's going to release 1 carbon dioxide, right? So we know the ratio, okay? Stoichiometrically, they're all going to produce the same amount of carbon dioxide, right? So which one has the greatest number of moles? 1 gram sample. So it depends on the MR, right? The greater the MR, the fewer the moles. So you're looking for the one that has the tiniest MR. So then you're going to have more moles, right? So which one has the least MR out of these? I think calcium. Because CO3 is common. So you just have to look at this is calcium, lithium twice. That's lithium aise kya hota hai? I think it's 7. 6.9 or 7 something, right? So 2 lithiums would be 14. Magnesium is 24. And 2 NAs, that's 46, right? So I think D hoga.
Yeah, it's B.
Because the total MR is going to be the smallest.
It's
so
like
you're going to
70
have more.
something for Li.
ठीक है. अच्छा इस पे याद रखा कि make sure you try and use shortcuts. ठीक है? You don't have to solve the whole question. ठीक है? कि people will waste time writing equations for this. So you just have to understand that stoichiometrically it's just going to be 1:1. एक second. अच्छा stoichiometrically it's just going to be 1:1. ठीक है? इसे क्या हुआ? नहीं sorry. We waited a paper को. Just give me 1 second. हाँ ठीक है बंद हो गया था. अच्छा next one. Which statement about this molecule is correct? अच्छा 1 sigma and 2 pi bonds, is that correct?
No.
Because there's only 1 pi bond, right? Not 2 pi bonds. Okay, so that's wrong. It is a non-polar molecule. Is that correct?
I think so.
अच्छा इसकी shape क्या होगी? What is the shape of this molecule? Like, what is the situation around the N atom? एक तो उसके पास double bond है, ठीक है? It's got a double bond on this side. It's got a single bond on this side. Does it have lone pairs? N is making 3 bonds. Would it have any lone pairs?
No.
होंगे ना, ग्रुप 5 में होता है, तो ग्रुप 5 में इट्स ओनली मेकिंग 3 bonds, राइट? इब्राहिम क्लियर है, लोन पेयर्स होंगे,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
ठीक है? तो दैट मीन्स कि it's got 3 pairs of electrons. It's got a double bond, and it's got a single bond, and it's got lone pairs. So it's basically trigonal planar, but since the lone pair is not counted in the shape, it's actually bent. Okay, and the angle is going to be what, 120 degrees or slightly less than 120. Okay,
So it's not C.
so it is. Achha, who's the most electronegative atom out of all these three? Well, Cl, N, or O, mein, which one is the most electronegative?
Cl?
Nahi, O.
Oh, okay.
Okay, O is the most electronegative. Okay, so all the ये check भी कर लेना Pauling scale. 1 second. इसको बोल के check कर लेते हैं. कहाँ गया? 1 second.
Oxygen is the most electronegative.
ठीक है, मैं after fluorine it is oxygen.
Yeah.
ठीक है. अच्छा, so it can't be P. क्योंकि oxygen is the most electronegative out of this. तो electrons इस side पे होंगे. This side will be slight negative. It is not linear, तो C भी क्या? It is sp2 hybridized. How do you know it is sp2 hybridized? And that is
The
the
double
correct
bond?
option. ठीक है, ये याद रखना कि if it's 1 pi bond, if it's no pi bonds, तो वो क्या होता है? sp3. If it's 1 pi bond, then it's sp2. And if something makes 2 pi bonds, then it's sp. ठीक है? अच्छा, ये वाला molecule shape, CO2, is it linear?
Yes, sir.
Actually, BF3 is also CO2 is linear, ठीक है? क्योंकि उसके पास there's just 2 pairs. अच्छा, trigonal planar, tetrahedral तो गलत है. NH3 is pyramidal, right? 3 bonds with N having a lone pair. ठीक है? So it's trigonal pyramidal. PF5 is not octahedral. ठीक है? उसके लिए 6 bonds चाहिए. So these two are wrong. लेकिन वो जो pairs of electrons, because he's talking about the pairs of electrons. CO2 में it's actually 4 pairs of electrons. 2 pairs on this side, 2 pairs on this side. So B is the correct option. Boron is group 3, so that means it makes 3 bonds. So group 3 में, so it has no electrons left. All of them got used up, ठीक है? तो answer B है. Clear है ये?
Yes, sir.
So this is about PV equal nRT. It says what mass of argon does it contain? ठीक है? You can just directly jump to PV equal nRT. The pressure is given, that's 1 times 10 power 5. Volume कितना है? That's it should be in meter cube. So that's 1.2. Yes, अच्छा, okay, 1.2 times 10 power minus 3. अच्छा, N is moles, nRT, तो moles क्या है? Mass. You're supposed to find out the mass. So we don't know what the mass is. लेकिन we know that it is argon, right? Argon क्या होता है pure table? I think it's 40. Or temperature has to be in Kelvins, right? The 25 plus
I'm getting
270.
B.
VR, can anyone confirm? Safa Baba, can you confirm? You are Ibrahim kiya?
I'm getting B too.
ठीक है.
B.
That's the next one. Student mixed 25 cm cube of HCl with an equal volume of NaOH. Equal volume, not the it's also 25 cm cube. The initial temperature of both solutions was 15. The maximum temperature recorded. So delta T pata lag jayega. What is delta T? That's 15. And remember, it's exothermic. The sign would be minus, right? Well, eventually 15 degrees. Hai. Final jo answer hoga, that will be negative. It's exothermic. Acha, what's the... We know C. Okay, they've given us C as 4.18. Okay, that's already given. And what is M? M is the mass of the solution. So 25 cm cube mixed with 25 cm cube, that's going to be
50.
50. So 50 grams hoga. Okay, so we can find Q is equal to MC delta T. So that's 50 times 4.18 times 15. Minus sign laga do because it's exothermic. So what do you get?
Minus 3135.
So we are getting minus 3135, right? And remember, this is joules, okay? अच्छा अब उसने पूछे कि what is the enthalpy change of neutralization of HCl? So that is supposed to be for 1 mole. ये जो किया है, how many we did this for how many moles? Concentration times volume, so it's what 25 divided by 1000 times 4 कितना हो गया? That's 100 divided by 1000.1 moles है ना?
Yes.
अच्छा तो ये जो निकाला है, this is for 0.1 moles and 0.1 moles it's kilojoules में चले जाओ तो it's minus 3.135, right? तो 1 mole जो होगा फिर that's going to be what? B? ठीक है, B आएगा ना?
I
Yes,
think
sir.
so.
Okay. So I think this is about the Hess cycle or not. I think it is about the Hess cycle. अच्छा वो कह रहे हैं nitrogen monoxide is rapidly oxidized to nitrogen dioxide, right? So nitrogen dioxide can then diabarize to form nitrogen tetraoxide. So Sina, he's given you 2 reactions. He's actually given you 3 reactions. अच्छा अब निकालना क्या है? So what is the value of the enthalpy change for the reaction shown? So you have to construct. असल में ना अगर तो enthalpy of formation से काम चलाते ना तो you could have used the formula, right? Or can we use the formula? No, we can't use the formula because the trouble is that we've got an equation which is just a random reaction. So say you can't really apply the formula, so you have to construct a Hess cycle for this. So basically, you have to go from this point all the way to the other side. ठीक है? तो पहले तो enthalpy of formation, right? What really is enthalpy of formation? कि NO is going to be formed from its elements, right? So it's the elements are what? N2 and O2. ये clear है? Plus there's another O2. मैं वैसे ही सोचूं कि is there an easy way of doing this? शायद नहीं है. अच्छा, anyways. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
और ये जो part है ना, this is this one. कि it's this part over here. The enthalpy of formation of NO. Except कि it's 2 times, right? कि वो double हुआ है, it's 2 NO. You're forming 2 NO, right? So this value would be 2 times कितना था? 2 times 91, right? अच्छा अब आगे The other thing that he has given us is the enthalpy of formation of NO2, right? So what I can do is I can use this now and I can convert it into, क्योंकि NO2 तो ऊपर कहीं पे भी नहीं है, so but I'm just adding this anyways, ठीक है? So I'm going to form NO2. But the thing is, I would have to form two NO2s because वहाँ पे elements ज़्यादा है ना, there are two Ns and there are four oxygens, right? So I have to form two NO2s. So this value would be what? 34 times 2 होगी ना? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, अब finally जो है ना part, ये वाला part, this one over here, ये वाला part ना ये हम connect कर सकते हैं कि what I can do is कि 2NO2 बन गया ना, I can convert that into N2O4, so my cycle would be complete. और इस दफा मल्टीप्लाई किसी के साथ नहीं करना क्योंकि -58, ठीक है? यू यूजिंग द एग्जैक्ट सेम मोल्स, ठीक है? तो मेरे ख्याल से काम चल गया, साइकिल बन गया एंड आई हैव रीच्ड द अदर स्पॉट, ठीक है? तो इस पूरे को ना वो यू हैव टू गो फ्रॉम लेफ्ट टू राइट. तो पहले तो 2 into 91 हैज टू बी, इट हैज टू बी नेगेटिव क्योंकि you're going in the other direction, right? फिर 34 times 2 वो सही है, और फिर -58, right? So then it's 34 times 2 and then it's -58 है, -58 ही है. 34 का
Sir,
साइन गलत तो नहीं है?
-172 आ रहा है.
कितना आ रहा है?
-172.
ठीक है, so we're getting D. ये क्लियर है?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it's
Yes, sir.
clear.
क्योंकि ये मतलब it's remember hair cycle questions are slightly difficult, so you have to do a lot of trial and error, ठीक है? There's no, अगर उससे ना, if they hadn't given us this, right, you could have used the formula which is enthalpy of formation of products minus the enthalpy of formation of the reactants, right? But the trouble was they didn't really give us the enthalpy of formation of the product. So which is why you had to sort of construct the hair cycle first. So Safa Marwa, is this clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, next one. LiAlH4 contains this ion. So it reacts with water. There's an equation given. So in this reaction, each of the 4 water molecule produces a hydroxide ion. It does this by losing one H plus one which reacts with the LiAlH4. So उसने कहा कि each of the 4 water molecule produces a hydroxide ion. And it does this by losing. Achha, pehle na, let me. So what changes in the oxidation number occur in this reaction? So what is the, so any idea what's the oxidation number that's changing? Whether metals ka oxidation state, does it change or not? Like lithium is group 1, right? So it's always going to be +1. Lithium is still +1. ठीक है?
Sir?
एक सेकंड ना, मैं ऐड कर लूं. हाँ जी.
Doesn't H also decrease by 1 because then it becomes H2?
हाँ, लेकिन does it increase by 1 or does it decrease by 1?
Decrease, nahin? Because then it becomes 0. 4H2.
+1 से 0.
Nee, the 4H2.
हाँ, ये वाला.
No, the one after.
Product में.
Yeah.
हाँ, this is 0 है. I know this is 0. लेकिन मैं वो कह रहा हूँ, does it increase by 1 or does it decrease by 1? अच्छा ये तो क्लियर है, Al और लिथियम जो है ना, nothing will happen to them, ठीक है, क्योंकि their oxidation state is fixed. Al is always in group 3, it's always +3, and lithium is always in group 1, it's always +1, ठीक है, तो ये A को तो एलिमिनेट कर देते हैं. अच्छा, now the trouble with this question is, पहले तो मुझे बताओ कि H को क्या हो रहा है? What do you think? What is happening to H? It is going to 0, but is it increasing or is it decreasing?
I think,
Increasing.
sir, both.
वैसे इसका C है और मैं एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ why is it C, ठीक है. Remember normally what is H? H is always
0.
नहीं, मुझे इसमें देखने दो कि H is normally what, +1,
Oh,
right?
+1.
ठीक है, decreases by 2, बस ये देखना है. अच्छा, normally H is always +1, right? लेकिन ये जो molecule है ना, this is something that comes in organic chemistry, ठीक है, reducing agent है. You should know what the structure is. खासतौर पे aluminium, ठीक है, वो dimerization of aluminium and its dative bonding and coordinate bonding, you should know about this, ठीक है. उसने, this is the reason why he gave you, उससे पहले बताया था कि there's an AlH4 -1 ion, right? So let me explain what an AlH4 -1 ion looks like. Al normally has 3 electrons. So that means Al is going to bond with 3 hydrogens, ठीक है. और इसके अंदर the oxidation states, Al would be +3 and H is going to be metal के साथ ना, remember वो H क्या होता था, बल्कि तो डायरेक्टली पता लग जाता है. The rule is H is always +1 except with metal hydrides. क्योंकि if it's with a metal, so the metal is the one that would be losing electrons and H would be the one that would be gaining electrons. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
तो यहाँ पे ना H is actually -1. Water के अंदर H is actually +1. Is this clear? ये चीज क्लियर है कि H is +1 except in metal hydrides.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
अच्छा, तो H -1 से किधर जा रहा है? 0. और इसका H +1 से किधर जा रहा है? That's also going to 0. और बीच में से OH जो है ना, वो निकल गया. उसने कहा वाटर में से ना OH, the OH has gone. So water में the H is left. ठीक है, the OH has gone. So इसलिए C है, ठीक है. H increases by 1 and also decreases by 1. मतलब +1 से 0, -1 से 0. Is this clear? क्लियर है ना सारों को?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
अगला वाला
sir.
vanadium. अच्छा, so this equation, which statement about this reaction is correct? First one, hydrogen is oxidized in the reaction. Is that correct? I don't think anything happens to hydrogen. ठीक है, वो +1 है, इधर भी +1 है. So nothing happens to hydrogen. Magnesium is the reducing agent. What happens to magnesium over here? It's probably +2. तो ये बात सही है ना? Magnesium is getting oxidized, right? तो जो oxidize होता है, that is the reducing agent. सही है, क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
तो बस B है, उससे आगे सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. अच्छा, next one. In which equilibrium with an increase in pressure at constant temperature increases the yield of the products on the right hand side. So increased pressure, किस type पे equilibrium shift होता है? When you're compressing it, when you're increasing pressure, less gas mole side. Or less gas would be produced. तो first वाले में less gas किस side पे? I think it's backward में. क्योंकि in the forward side you got 1 mole, on the backward side you got 0 moles. अच्छा, second equilibrium में less gas किस side पे है? ऐसा जो आपका सेकेंड इक्विलिब्रियम है ना,
It's equal on both sides. And
इक्वल है ना, नहीं इक्वल तो नहीं है।
No,
Equal?
5 on one side, 4 on the other side.
oh,
हाँ तो ये तो फॉरवर्ड ठीक है, बी आंसर पे ठीक है। 5 और 4 लेस कास्ट फॉरवर्ड है, ठीक है। इधर इक्वल है एंड लास्ट वाले में भी इक्वल है, ठीक है। सो नेक्स्ट वन, केपी का क्वेश्चन आ गया। HI is added to an evacuated reaction vessel. The vessel is sealed and warmed. The decomposition reaction को कर लेते हैं। HI को उसने पकड़ा है और उसको रखा है and he's चलो ये हो गया 2HI। अच्छा, when equilibrium is established, the total pressure is 1.2 times 10 power 5 and the partial pressure of हाइड्रोजन का पार्शियल प्रेशर दिया है वो 4 times 10 power 3 है। तो हाइड्रोजन आयोडाइड, हाइड्रोजन एंड आयोडीन आर ऑल गैसेस अंडर दीज कंडीशंस। तो केपी की वैल्यू निकालनी है। तो पहले तो बताओ कि दिस इज द पार्शियल प्रेशर ऑफ हाइड्रोजन, राइट? और ये इक्विलिब्रियम के ऊपर है। तो व्हाट इज द पार्शियल प्रेशर ऑफ आयोडीन? वो क्या होगा?
Same होएगा।
सेम होगा क्योंकि वो HI है, वो डिकम्पोज हो रहा है। उसने वही कहना था HI इज एडेड, तो HI डिकम्पोज होके इट्स फॉर्मिंग, तो इट्स फॉर्मिंग द सेम नंबर ऑफ मोल्स, है तो सेम प्रेशर एक्सर्ट कर रहे होंगे। सो व्हिच मींस आयोडीन वुड बी 4 times 10 power 3 pascals as well, कि दोनों के सेम मोल्स बनने हैं, ठीक है। ये क्लियर है? तो both of them will
Yes.
exert the same pressure. अच्छा, HI का पार्शियल प्रेशर बताओ, what would be the partial pressure of HI? क्योंकि remember he's given you the total pressure, कि इक्विलिब्रियम पे टोटल प्रेशर क्या है। टोटल प्रेशर जो होता है वो that's the combined pressure of all the gases. तो this is the combined total pressure exerted by all the gases at equilibrium, ठीक है। तो 4 times 10 power 3 H2, 4 times 10 power 3 I2, so what is left?
112,000, sir.
क्या
1.12
112
times 10 power 3.
1.12 times 10 power
3.
ठीक है। इज दिस ये क्लियर है साहब को? ये कोई मोल्स में, यू डोंट हैव टू गो इनटू मोल्स क्योंकि ही ऑलरेडी गिव यू द पार्शियल प्रेशर ऑफ H2 यानी ही डिड ऑल द मैथ्स, ठीक है, ही गिव यू द आंसर। तो I2 would have exactly the same partial pressure क्योंकि it will have exactly the same moles, and he gave you the total pressure which is exerted by all the gases, so you were able to figure out the partial pressure of HI as well. क्लियर है ये? तो
Yeah.
अब इसको ना what you have to do is you have to use these values in the KP expression, which is going to be 4 times 10 power 3 product pressure squared H2 into I2 divided by the reactant pressure, which will also be squared.
I'm getting 12.75.
वो तो है ही नहीं।
Sir, I think it was 1.12 times 10 raised power 5.
हाँ ये चेक करो, ये गलत क्यों किया हुआ?
I think it's 1.12 times 10 raised power 5.
Yeah, then I'm getting B, 0.00127.
0 ठीक है, बी। चलो ठीक है, क्लियर है? इज दिस क्वेश्चन क्लियर? पिछला वाला।
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next one, 15. The equation for two reactions are shown. तो ठीक है, दो reactions. The two reactions have similar reaction mechanisms. The initial reaction rate of reaction X is greater than that of reaction Y when measured under identical conditions of temperature, pressure, and reactant concentration. Yani, same conditions, but that means the first reaction is faster. Which statement explains वो पूछा कि why is the first reaction faster? So the activation energy for X is less than that of Y.
That's true.
ठीक है, it makes sense. कि मतलब कम activation energy, that's why it's faster. Next one, the Br-Br bond is weaker than the Cl-Cl bond.
Yes.
That is true. As a statement, that is true. Because the bigger atom is going to have weaker bonds, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't
the Br,
explain the thing, I guess.
हाँ, क्योंकि जो rate of reaction है ना, it depends on, but it doesn't depend on bond formation, right? जो मसला आता है why the reaction slows down is that it's harder to break bonds, right? Activation energy जो है, that is, what is activation energy? It's the energy that is initially required, right? तो वो जो
Yeah.
initial energy required होती है ना, उसके ऊपर rate of reaction depends on that. तो
Okay.
problem ये है कि if the bonds are strong, right, harder to break, right? So the activation
Yeah.
energy is going to be high. अच्छा लेकिन
Okay.
but that won't explain this क्योंकि Br-Br bond इसमें उल्टा form हो रहा है, right? You're not breaking it. ठीक है? तो ये
I
clear
think
है
it's
बात?
just C.
हाँ, और आखिरी क्या, higher frequency of collision? No, it's not going to be higher frequency of collisions क्योंकि he told us कि it's identical conditions, right? तो जब identical conditions है, so it won't have a higher frequency of collisions. तो वो वैसे ही गलत है. ठीक है? एक सेकंड. अच्छा तो C है. Now next one, Boltzmann distribution. The diagram shows the Boltzmann distribution of energies in a gas. The gas can take part in a reaction with an activation energy EA. The gas is maintained at constant temperature. So there's a gas. Okay. So you're saying so basically all statements are if a catalyst is added. So क्या होगा? What does the catalyst do? It doesn't really disturb the Boltzmann distribution. The only thing that it will do is कि वो activation energy को कम कर देगा. ठीक है? It's going to decrease it, right?
So C.
The peak will be the same. ठीक है? And the EA will move to the left. Yeah. That's it. ठीक है? And you'll have more particles that will have energy greater than activation energy, so you'll have more successful collisions. ठीक है? पहले तो सिर्फ only these particles were able to successfully collide. Now these particles will also be able to successfully collide. अच्छा, inorganic start हो गया. अच्छा, you've got element and there are three different elements in the period C of the periodic table. L is the element whose atoms have 3 unpaired electrons. ये जल्दी से बताओ कि period C में which group has 3 unpaired electrons? 3p3, 3 unpaired electrons. कौन सा ग्रुप है ये? Group 1 क्या होता है? Group 1 is S1, Group 2 is S2, Group 3 is S2p1, Group 4 is S2p2, Group 5 जो होगा ना, that's going to be S2p3. ठीक है, is this clear?
So phosphorus?
हाँ, period C में phosphorus ही होगा. ठीक है, so this is going to be phosphorus, right? M is the element with the highest electrical conductivity in the period. अच्छा, कौन सा ये Na, Mg, Al, Si, P, S, Cl, Ar. Who's
I
the
think it was
most?
AL. Yeah, per SI.
नहीं, SI तो conduct ही नहीं करता. SI is
Yeah,
a
AL.
semiconductor. ठीक है, it's aluminium is the one that's used in high voltage transmission because it has 3 valence electrons which get delocalized. ठीक है, तो Al is the most, तो वो Al हो गया. N is the element with the highest, ये तो आसान है बहुत. Who's got the
Silicon.
highest? ठीक है, that's silicon. तो अब आंसर करो. आंसर तो उसमें इसको पहले तो ऑर्डर में लिखो. दिस इज Al followed by Si और साथ ही फॉस्फोरस है. ठीक है, लाइन में सारे. अच्छा, what happens to the नहीं, L has a, अच्छा पहले तो आइडेंटिफाई करो कौन L है. This is L. As a question simple है लेकिन it just gets confusing over here. This is M and this is N. हाँ. So L has a higher atomic number than M and a lower.
that's
No,
true.
that's wrong.
No,
गलत है.
L is
L has
phosphorus.
a higher atomic number than M
Oh, M. Oh, sorry. I thought it's an N.
and और फिर वो कह रहा है lower atomic number than M. वो गलत है. L has a lower atomic number. नहीं, L has the D है ना.
Yeah.
ठीक है. So this one is D. Clear है?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, ये वाला ना. अच्छा, ये बहुत ही फालतू का क्वेश्चन है लेकिन it's just going to consume a lot of time. In reaction 1 and 2, X represents an element in period 3, so it could be any element. ठीक है? In each reaction, X is forming a product. Period 3, remember period 3. तो वो मैं लिख देता हूँ NaMg, Al, Si, उसके बाद क्या आता है? PSCl, argon. ठीक है? तो वो कह रहा है कि which ratio shows a steady increase from sodium to phosphorus? अभी नीचे A भी increase in ratio, right? Sodium to phosphorus. अब बैठ के वो सारों के लिए करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? This is going to take a lot of time. मैं सारे लिख देता हूँ. NaCl होता है, MgCl2 होता है, you got AlCl3, you got SiCl4. मेरे ख्याल से वो steady increase जो है ना वो हमें पता लग जाएगा. ठीक है? I don't have to do for the whole thing. ठीक है? Oxides का भी कर लो. It's Na2O, MgO, Al2O3, SiO2, right? And so on. अच्छा, अब steady increase.
Increase in what?
ये जो नीचे दिया हुआ नहीं 4 ऑप्शंस.
Oh,
अच्छा,
okay, like
options.
increase in oxygen.
हाँ, ऑप्शन is GNY and QNP ratio, right? और फिर दो ऑप्शंस है neither ZY QP ratio और both ZY and QP ratio. So ZY ratio. ठीक है? पहले तो
Okay,
ZY
okay.
ratio. ZY ratio निकाल लो. What is ZY ratio? ZY ratio is this divided by this. ठीक है? तो ये 1 divided by 1 है ना. So the first one is 1 by 1. फिर क्या है? 2 divided by 1. फिर क्या है? 3 divided by 1. And then it's 4 divided by 1, right?
So it's
तो इसका मतलब
B or it's D because it's increasing.
it is increasing. ठीक है? तो ZY हो सकता है. So it's either B or D. What about Q ratio P? अब Q कौन सा है? This is Q and this is P. तो ये क्या हो गया? 1 by 2. ये क्या हो गया? 1 by 1. This is 3 by 2. This is 2 by 1. ये भी
Yeah,
increase
I
नहीं
think
कर
it
रहा.
is increasing. Yeah.
तो it's going to be D.
Okay.
तो ये clear है? This one.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, ये लेकिन पेपर में नहीं होगा क्योंकि ये क्वेश्चन पेपर सॉल्व नहीं होगा क्योंकि कॉम्प्रिहेंशन ही इस क्वेश्चन की ना इतनी मुश्किल है कि समझ नहीं आएगा कि वो पूछ क्या रहा है. ठीक है? तो वो इस तरह के बीच में ना यू विल गेट क्वेश्चंस लाइक दीस. ठीक है? एक सेकंड. अच्छा, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, and phosphorus are all elements in period C of the periodic table. 3 statements about the oxides and chlorides of these elements are given. Oxides, and फिर से वही oxides, chlorides. The ionically bonded oxides all react with dilute HCl. हाँ, वो ठीक है क्योंकि sodium
Yes.
oxide is ionically bonding. Magnesium oxide or aluminium oxide, ठीक है? They all react with aluminium oxide. याद रखना, it's amphoteric, right?
Okay.
All metal chlorides produce a neutral solution when added to water. That is definitely not true. क्योंकि
No,
वो
it's acidic. Right?
हाँ, सिलिकॉन क्लोराइड और फॉस्फोरस क्लोराइड जो होते हैं एक्चुअली सारी एसिडिक होते हैं. दे ऑल फॉर्म, सिर्फ पहला वाला न्यूट्रल होता है। MgCl2 जो होता है वो स्लाइटली एसिडिक होता है, थोड़ा सा हाइड्रोलाइज करता है। इट्स ओनली द फर्स्ट वन दैट्स न्यूट्रल। ये बहुत थोड़ा सा एसिडिक होता है, थोड़ा सा हाइड्रोलाइसिस होता है।
So it's
एंड
C.
देन द हाइड्रो, तो इसका मतलब 2 तो गलत है। The two most electronegative elements both form covalently bonded chlorides. हाँ ठीक है, वो सही है। तो 1 and 3 सी है। अच्छा 20, which table compares calcium with barium and calcium carbonate with barium carbonate? अच्छा पहले तो calcium और barium, calcium ऊपर है प्योर टेबल में और barium is lower down, right? Who's more reactive? Reactivity क्या होती है नीचे की तरफ?
Decrease, I think.
It increases, ठीक है, barium is
So
more reactive.
increases.
अच्छा स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ कार्बोनेट्स क्या होते हैं? नीचे वाले ज्यादा स्टेबल होते हैं, ऊपर वाले ज्यादा स्टेबल होते हैं?
ऊपर वाले?
नहीं, नीचे वाले। बैरियम कार्बोनेट इज मोर स्टेबल, ठीक है। तो कीप दिस इन माइंड के ग्रुप 2 पे कोई ज्यादा चीजें नहीं पूछते, जस्ट मेक श्योर कि द रिएक्टिविटी इंक्रीजेस डाउन द ग्रुप, ठीक है।
Okay, sir.
और क्यों, व्हाई डज इट इंक्रीज? क्योंकि इट्स इजी टू लूज इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, राइट।
Yeah.
और सेकंड जो चीज है ना वो ये कि द स्टेबिलिटी ऑफ कार्बोनेट्स एंड नाइट्रेट्स दैट आल्सो इंक्रीजेस। बड़ा आयन जो होगा ना उसका जो कार्बोनेट होगा ना दैट वुड बी वेरी वेरी स्टेबल। और इसमें ये भी याद रखना कि like you got Mg and you got Ca and you got Sr, right? You have to remember the first two carbonates, they decompose in a Bunsen burner, right? जो bottom
Yes.
two के carbonates है ना, they don't decompose in a Bunsen burner. अच्छा next one. अच्छा okay, P and Q each contain a different group 2 ion at the same concentration. One contains M, so this P and Q. एक में Mg है, दूसरे में barium है. Tests are carried out on separate 5 cm samples of P and Q, right? तो अच्छा he didn't tell us कि which one is P and which one is Q. बताया कि नहीं बताया? नहीं, he didn't tell us. He just told us one contains. So test one is that he adds sodium sulfate. तो क्या होगा? What will happen? Will you get more precipitated with barium or will you get more precipitated with magnesium? इनमें से किसका सल्फेट जो होता है that's insoluble?
Barium.
ठीक है, remember barium sulfate is insoluble. So you're going to get more precipitated
Mg.
with barium.
Oh,
और
barium.
हाँ, और remember हाइड्रोक्साइड की solubility उल्टी होती है, ठीक है? It's the opposite. Magnesium hydroxide is the one that's insoluble. Barium hydroxide is the one that's actually soluble. So hydroxide के अंदर ना, in result of test 2, you're going to get more precipitate with magnesium, ठीक है? So keep this in mind कि group 2 में ना you got magnesium and barium, right? Hydroxides में it's the barium hydroxide that's more soluble. That's very soluble actually. और sulfates में it's actually magnesium sulfate that's soluble and barium sulfate that's not soluble, ठीक है? तो उनके जो ट्रेंड्स होते हैं ना सॉलिबिलिटी के, the complete opposites, ठीक है? क्लियर है ये?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा अगला है J dissolves in water to give an aqueous solution K. K gives a dense white precipitate with aqueous silver nitrate. तो अच्छा, so it gives with the silver nitrate के साथ who forms a white precipitate? What ion does it show that it has?
Chlorine or chloride.
ठीक है, remember Cl ions they form a white precipitate. Br ions होते हैं तो they would form a green precipitate. I-1 होता तो it would have formed a yellow precipitate, ठीक है?
I
अच्छा
think
when
it's
heated
C,
with
right?
अच्छा अगला कि when heated with NaOH it gives a ammonia gas. You have to remember कि it's ammonium chloride. It's
With
C नहीं
what?
A. वो बता देता हूँ कि वो कौन सी gas है which turns litmus paper blue? That's ammonia gas. There's only
Okay.
one basic. There's only one basic gas. That's ammonia gas. ठीक है?
Okay.
So that indicates that there must be ammonium ions. You can remember ammonium ions जो होते हैं ना, they are acidic. ठीक है? Ammonia is basic. Ammonium ions are the conjugate acids. ठीक है? उसको
Okay.
जब किसी बेस के साथ रिएक्ट करता है, like NaOH, the OH ions they accept an H+1 coming from, मतलब बीच में तो NaCl बन गया. The OH ion accepts H+1, it forms water, and the ammonium ions they lose H+1 to form ammonia. ठीक है? Clear है?
Yes, sir.
तो ये रिएक्शन हमेशा याद रखना अमोनियम आयंस का. ठीक है? They always react with bases. ठीक है? Because they are conjugate acids. इसको H+1 एक्सेप्ट करने का शौक है. ठीक है? Likes to gain H+1. अमोनियम का उल्टा काम है. ठीक है? Loses an H+1. अच्छा, ये तो सिंपल है. These salts have different percentage by mass of nitrogen. They have the same effect as each other on the pH of wet neutral soil. तो ये भी मैंने डिस्कस किया था. ये एसिडिक है या बेसिक है? What is it? Will it lose an
Acidic.
H+1 or will it? Okay, it's going to lose an H+1. ठीक है? So that means it's acidic. It will decrease the pH of the soil. ठीक है? बाकी वो higher percentage तो आप खुद भी निकाल सकते हो. Which one is going to have a higher percentage? I think it's going to be because of year by just looking at it.
Yeah.
वो इसलिए because the MR looks smaller. It has two ends, and this one also has two ends. लेकिन उसकी जो MR है ना, that's a lot smaller. So that means the percentage by mass is going to be a lot higher. ठीक है? क्योंकि सल्फर 32 है, ऑक्सीजन 16 4, so that's a much bigger molecule. ठीक है? ये क्लियर है? Is this clear? बाकी वो क्लियर है?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, और जल्दी से खत्म करने की कोशिश करते हैं. Okay, which statement is correct? Reaction occurs between carbon, so there's a reaction, catalytic converter में. तो अच्छा, remember catalytic converter में क्या होता है? It's either platinum, palladium या फिर rhodium catalyst, right? Iron तो नहीं है इसमें catalyst. अच्छा, B, is that correct?
No, sir. CO2 is still a greenhouse gas.
हाँ, वो greenhouse gas है. Will it produce photochemical smog?
Sir,
होती क्या
नाइट्रोजन
photo?
क्या करता है ना, एक्ट करता है कैटलिस्ट के अंदर.
नहीं, नाइट्रोजन तो इनर्ट होता है. नाइट्रोजन तो 78% एटमॉस्फेयर इज नाइट्रोजन. ठीक है? नाइट्रोजन ने कुछ करना होता तो पूरी एटमॉस्फेयर वैसे ही तबाह हो जाती. तो नाइट्रोजन
No.
डजंट डू एनीथिंग.
It's
इट्स
wrong.
कंप्लीटली, हाँ, इट्स रॉन्ग. लेकिन what is photochemical smog? Photochemical smog is produced when oxides of nitrogen they react with unburnt hydrocarbons. ठीक है?
Its
और वो
chemical
बनाते हैं
formula is
pyro-.
CH3, CO3, and NO2, ना? तो
वो तो मुझे भी याद नहीं है. You just call it. You don't have to remember it. ठीक है?
oh,
उसको कहते हैं PN. It's peroxy acetyl nitrite. ठीक है? Nitrate, sorry, peroxy acetyl nitrate. That's photochemical smog. तो आपको बस ये याद रखना है. You don't have to remember the actual formula. No one would be able to remember the actual formula. ठीक है? हाँ, वो थोड़ा सा फॉर्मूला पता होना चाहिए. शायद वो लिख के दे दे. बल्कि इट्स गुड इफ यू रिमेंबर इट. ठीक है?
okay.
अच्छा, ओजोन डिप्लीशन. रिएक्शन रिजल्ट्स इन इंक्रीज्ड ओजोन डिप्लीशन.
Yeah.
इनमें से कौन सा नहीं? Why does it increase ozone depletion? अच्छा, एक सेकंड. फाइनली डिवाइडेड आयरन तो है नहीं. It prevents greenhouse gas emissions. No, it's not preventing it. It's actually kind of preventing it. वैसे वो हाइड्रोकार्बन जो होते हैं बी हो सकता है वैसे सही पार्शली तो प्रिवेंट किया है वो मीथेन और वो सारे जो the reaction reduces the possibility of the formation it does क्योंकि वो नाइट्रोजन के ऑक्साइड्स खत्म कर देता है this is 100% true this is 100% wrong
चलो तो फिर सी होएगा ना।
नहीं सी तो
Sir, check the mark scheme. इसमें C लिखा है.
नहीं सी है ना वैसे हमने सी क्यों गलत किया
यहाँ से आपने वो कंफ्यूज हो गए थे मुझे लगता है।
हमें आंसर तो सी है ऑब्वियसली सी है मतलब वही मैंने बताया ना कि
यस
हाँ ठीक
आपने
है
वो क्रॉस कर दिया था तो शायद इसलिए आपने।
हाँ मैं पता नहीं कुछ और सोच रहा था वो सी है वो सारा एक्सप्लेन किया था कि नाइट्रोजन ऑक्साइड्स खत्म होंगे तो ऑब्वियसली फोटोकेमिकल स्मॉग जो है दैट विल इट विल रिड्यूस सो इट्स ऑब्वियसली सी बाकी सब ठीक है सी है चलो ऑर्गेनिक which compound has the molecular formula this you know कौन सा वाला compound है which has this formula पहले वाले में तो 6C है ऑक्सीजन एक ही है ठीक है दैट्स 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 यही है ए है
Yeah.
क्या है कोई एच मैंने मिस तो नहीं किया that's all the H's right so it is A that's the next one how many different ये how many ये एक फालतू का क्वेश्चन आता है इस पे टाइम ज्यादा ना जाया करना पेपर में इसको बल्कि एंड पे ही रख लेना ठीक है अच्छा इसे how many different structural isomers are there for n is equal to 3 and n is equal to 4 अच्छा चलो ये अच्छा किया उसने he's just limited to structural isomers ठीक है only structural isomers तो पहले तो n is equal to 3 that's n is equal to 3 में क्या होगा that's you can't have chain isomers तो OH या तो यहाँ पे होगा या फिर OH would be on the second one तो इसका मतलब है it's इन दो में से कोई है तो it all depends on n is equal to 4
I think B.
B अच्छा 4 में ना वो chain isomers भी होंगे सॉरी 4 में you'll have a chain isomer as well अब इसमें क्या क्या पोजीशंस होंगी OH is either going to be over here या फिर OH is either going to be here ये दो पोजीशंस हैं ठीक है 1 and 2 इधर क्या पोजीशंस हैं OH will either be over here that's one साइडों में कहीं और लगाओ it's going to be the same thing या OH is going to be in the middle ठीक है तो इसलिए B है तो इतना मुश्किल नहीं था आसान था इतने ज्यादा नहीं बना रहे थे तो नेक्स्ट वन वो ये कह रहा है कि there's a molecule which has one chiral carbon atom there's one chiral carbon क्या होता है which has 4 different groups attached to it तो Na के साथ रिएक्ट कर रहा है बट नॉट विद Na2CO3 अच्छा रिमेम्बर खाली Na के साथ कौन रिएक्ट करता है इसके लिए ना आई विल ओपन द अगर चार्ट पहले से ओपन हो अच्छा खाली Na के साथ कौन रिएक्ट करता है किसी को नहीं पता ओनली Na who reacts with only Na
Sir, alcohol. Alcohol.
हाँ तो it's only खाली Na के साथ it's only alcohol that reacts ठीक है ये वाला और alcohol is only going to react and lose its H with Na that's it जो आपका कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड होता है ना वो सारों के साथ रिएक्ट कर लेता है कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड रिएक्ट्स विद मतलब वो पूरा एसिड होता है ठीक है वो रिएक्ट्स विद NaOH Na2CO3 कार्बोनेट्स अमोनिया सारों के साथ रिएक्ट करता है ठीक है तो एक तो ये है दिस इज एन अल्कोहल एंड नॉट अ कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड ठीक है सो इट्स
I
एन
think
अल्कोहल
B.
हाँ इसी से ज्यादातर एलिमिनेट हो जाएंगे। तो नहीं, ए हो सकता है, ये दोनों नहीं हो सकता, इन दोनों में से ऑप्शन है, but it can't be a carboxylic acid, ठीक है, क्लियर है?
Okay.
अब ए और बी में देख रहे हैं पहले कि ए और बी का फॉर्मूला यही है, इज इट द फॉर्मूला और इज इट नॉट द फॉर्मूला? कितने कार्बन है इसमें? दैट्स
They both have 5 carbons.
और फिर 1 कायरल भी कहा हुआ है, तो अब उसके लिए ड्रॉ करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। आई एम गोना स्टार्ट विद दिस कार्बन, ठीक है, दिस कार्बन विद 2 CH3 branches, CH3 CH3, and then there's an OH branch, ठीक है, और फिर there's the ester C double bond O, and then there is another CH3. This carbon is not chiral क्योंकि वो it's got 2 CH3 groups, same groups आ गए, तो A तो गलत हो गया, it's going to be B. B को ड्रॉ करके देख लो, what is B? कि इधर से स्टार्ट कर लेते हैं, CH2 OH और फिर क्या CH, and then there is CH3 branch और फिर ester C double bond O और फिर दोबारा CH3. So this one is definitely chiral. All 4 sides are different. Clear है? तो B है,
Okay, sir.
ठीक है। अच्छा, ethane reacts with an excess of chlorine in the presence of ultraviolet light to form a mixture of products. How many of these products contain 2 carbon atoms and 1 or more chlorine atoms? ये फिर से वही फालतू का क्वेश्चन आ गया, ठीक है, it's going to waste a lot of time. अगर जल्दी करना है तो I think it's the answer would be, अगर तुक्का लगाना है, I mean circle the largest one. अच्छा, but the thing is this is a substitution reaction, ठीक है, और वो कह रहा है 1 or more chlorine atoms, ठीक है। अब इथेन है ना, इथेन के पास ये सारे थे, तो 1 or more chlorine atoms. Remember, substitution reaction, ultraviolet light में any number of H's could be substituted. So let's say एक substitute हो गया, तो और क्या ऑप्शन हो गए? 2 substitute हो जाए। अच्छा, उसके ना if 2 Cls are getting substituted, then that will be either the 2 Cls would substitute on the same carbon atom, या फिर होगा कि 1 Cl substitutes on 1 carbon atom, the other Cl substitutes on the, अब इस तरीके से बनाते जाओ, you could have 3 Cls, तो या तो तीनों Cl एक ही कार्बन आटम में सब्स्टिट्यूट हो जाए, और इट कुड बी दैट 2 Cl सब्स्टिट्यूट ऑन 1 and 1 substitutes on the other one, ठीक है। अच्छा, फिर ये कि अच्छा, the other option is, or क्या, you got plenty of other options. What if you have 4 Cls? Then you can have 3 Cls on one, and you could have 1 Cl on the other one, or you could have 2 Cls on one and 2 Cls on the other carbon atom, ठीक है, तो 4 Cls का ही होगा। अच्छा, what if the molecule has 5 Cls? Then you only have one option, which is 3 on one of the carbon atom and 2 on the other carbon atom, ठीक है। Lastly, you can have 6 Cls as well. तो उसका भी एक ही ऑप्शन होगा that all of them get substituted by. So how many of these products contain 2 carbon atoms and 1 or more chlorine atoms, ठीक है। तो ये एक Cl वाला, this is for 2 Cls. There are 2 scenarios. For 3 Cls, it's either 3 on each, on one, and or 2 or 1. 4 Cls के 2 options हैं, right? और कितने हो गए टोटल? That's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. ठीक है, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
अच्छा क्या ब्रोमोमीथेन reacts with ethanoic NaOH, ठीक है? What does ethanoic NaOH do? You remember halogenoalkane?
Alkenes.
हाँ, halogenoalkanes में ना sorry. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
अच्छा इसमें थे कि एथेनॉलिक बस एथेनॉलिक NaOH, ठीक है? तो वो उसको वापस इट कन्वर्ट्स इट इनटू एन एल्कीन, ठीक है? और फिर उसकी ब्रोमिनेशन कर रहा है, तो ही इज ब्रोमिनेटिंग एन एल्कीन। तो काफी गया क्वेश्चन नहीं हम ये क्वेश्चन कहाँ गया हमारा?
ये 29.
अच्छा सॉरी, उसके ऊपर हमने उसकी वर्किंग कर दिया। अच्छा ब्रोमो इथेन था तो इथीन बन जाएगा ना? दिस इज गोना बिकम एन इथीन मॉलिक्यूल, राइट? एंड इट डीकलराइजेस aqueous bromine। इथीन ऐसी आंसर है इसका, इसमें कोई ज्यादा सोचने की बात नहीं है। ऐसे एक सेकंड में अच्छा इसमें इसमें कुछ सोचने की बात नहीं थी। अच्छा इथीन, ठीक है, दैट्स इट। यही है ना, और तो कुछ नहीं सोचना। उसने डीकलराइजेस aqueous bromine, दैट्स इट, ठीक है, इट्स इथीन। Alkynes are hydrocarbons that contain a triple bond, ठीक है? So alkenes alkynes take part, तो वो कह रहे हैं दोनों दोनों के रिएक्शन सेम होते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल ethane reacts with excess of hydrogen to form ethane, तो अच्छा ठीक है, वो मतलब वो कह रहे हैं वही एडिशन रिएक्शन हो रहा है। इट बिकम्स ethane, उसमें हाइड्रोजन gets added। अच्छा वो कह रहे हैं propine undergoes an addition reaction with the excess of hydrogen bromide in two stages. Markovnikov's rule applies to the addition of HBr at each stage. What is the main product of propine? Propine पहले बनाओ। Propine is triple bond. Markovnikov's rule पता है ना कि क्या है? What is the Markovnikov's rule? कि H likes to bond with the carbon that's already bonded
That's
to more
already
H's.
on it.
तो किस वाले के साथ बॉन्ड करेगा? राइट वाले के साथ, लेफ्ट वाले के साथ?
Left
इसके
वाले
साथ
के
तो
साथ।
तीन, हाँ इसके साथ एक H है। राइट वाले के साथ वो लेफ्ट
वही।
लेफ्ट वाला उसके पास तो H ही नहीं है। एंड द राइट वन हैज वन H, ठीक है? सो स्टार्टिंग विद द फर्स्ट थिंग, और से टू स्टेजेस में ना, तो Br इधर आ जाएगा और H will join on the other side, right? और इसका तीन H's, फिर उसके बाद दोबारा HBr is getting added। अब बताओ, H still likes to bond with the carbon that's bonded to more H's, तो वो फिर से किधर जाएगा? राइट साइड पे, राइट? इज दैट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
तो वो H ने फिर से another H gets bonded, और Br यहाँ पे पहले एक था, now there going to be two Brs, right? तो CH3 CBr2 CH3, right? So it's going to be D. So is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear है? अच्छा अगला पार्ट है bromine reacts with alkenes by an electrophilic addition mechanism in which the cation is formed as an intermediate। ये वो electrophilic addition reaction है, ठीक है? Which mixture will produce the most stable intermediate carbocation? पहले तो बताओ, which one is the most stable intermediate carbocation? Primary, secondary या फिर tertiary?
Tertiary.
ठीक है, remember tertiary carbocations are the most stable, क्योंकि अगर carbocation has C alkyl chains which are electron donating, तो उसका positive charge density जो होती है ना, that's very less, ठीक है, which makes it very stable, ठीक है, it's very easy to form. तो वो देख रहे हैं कि इनमें से which one is going to form a tertiary carbocation, starting with the first one, pent 1ene है, ठीक है, pent कितने होते हैं, that's 5, 1ene का मतलब है double bond is on the first one, और फिर 3 पे ना dimethyl है, so there's a methyl and there's another methyl. अच्छा, अब कार्बोकैटायन अगर बनेगा ना तो यहाँ पे बनेगा डबल बॉन्ड में, राइट, ब्रोमीन इज गोइंग टू कम इन एंड ब्रोमीन इज गोइंग टू, मतलब वो ब्रोमीन या तो इधर अटैच हो जाएगा, ठीक है, या फिर दूसरी साइड पे अटैच हो जाएगा. सो यू आइदर गोइंग टू हैव अ कार्बोकैटायन ऑन दिस वन और यू आर गोइंग टू हैव अ कार्बोकैटायन ऑन द अदर वन, राइट, कि ब्रोमीन इधर अटैच हो जाए राइट साइड पे. अच्छा, इस केस में दिस इज प्राइमरी कार्बोकैटायन, क्योंकि, और इस केस में इट्स गोइंग टू बी सेकेंडरी कार्बोकैटायन, क्योंकि आपका जो कार्बन है ना, दैट्स बॉन्डेड टू 2 कार्बन चेन्स. इधर जो आपका कार्बन है ना, दैट्स बॉन्डेड टू जस्ट 1 कार्बन चेन. ये क्लियर है? पहले वाले केस में
Yes, sir.
इट्स आइदर गोइंग टू बी 1 डिग्री और इट्स गोइंग टू बी, अच्छा, उसने ये नहीं बताया कि मोस्ट स्टेबल, मतलब उसने ये नहीं बताया कि मेजर प्रोडक्ट माइनर प्रोडक्ट, ठीक है, तो हमें मेरे ख्याल से जनरली पूछना है, देखना है. अच्छा, नेक्स्ट वन, ईथीन, व्हाट विल हैपन टू ईथीन. उसका भी यही होगा कि व्हेन ब्रोमीन कम्स इन एंड बॉन्ड्स, तो आपका जो डबल बॉन्ड है ना, दैट गोज अवे और ये कार्बोकैटायन बन गया, राइट.
That's secondary.
प्राइमरी है,
Oh, yeah.
इसके साथ सिर्फ एक ही कार्बन चेन अटैच है ना, राइट. सो दिस इज a 1 degree carbocation and it doesn't matter वो दूसरी साइड पे होता, it would have been the same thing, ठीक है, तो ये 1 degree है खाली. we're looking for a 3 degree, मेरे ख्याल से ये करेगा 3 degree. this is
Yeah.
propene और methyl propene, so there's a methyl, right. तो इधर जब वो ब्रोमीन आके steals the electrons, तो अब double bond, the positive carbocation would either form on this side or on this side, ठीक है. ये तो खैर प्राइमरी 1 degree हो गया ना, I mean the one on the right side. This is actually 3 degree, ठीक है. It's a tertiary carbocation क्योंकि उसके साथ 3 carbon chains attached है उस चीज के साथ. तो so that's it, that's going to be C. Clear है ये?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, अगला, halogenoalkanes react with ethanolic KCN and the reaction mechanism is either SN1 or SN2. SN1 किसका होता था? It was tertiary and SN2 was for primary, right? और उसमें होता क्या था कि which statement is correct? All secondary halogenoalkanes react by secondary का पता ही नहीं होता. We don't know what mechanism they're going to follow. Both the halogenoalkanes and the CNIons are involved in the initial step of the SN1 mechanism. SN1 में क्या होता है? SN1 tertiary का होता है. Tertiary में क्या होता है कि the first thing that happens is कि वो जो halogen होता है ना, it breaks away on its own and you end up with a carbocation. और Cl जो है ना वो चला जाता है. And then your nucleophiles come in. The nucleophiles could be OH, they could be CN. इस केस में तो CN है. It could also be ammonia, ठीक है, वो अपने lone pairs लेके they come in and they attach, ठीक है. तो the CNIons are involved in the initial step. No, they're not. वो अगले step में आ रहे हैं, ठीक है. The CN is going to come in the next step. ये clear है?
Yes, sir.
और वो कह रहा है कि chloroethane reacts with chloroethane कौन सा है? Primary halogenoalkane है, second या tertiary है? ये वाला primary है, right?
Yeah.
अच्छा क्लोरोइथेन इज प्राइमरी, ठीक है। तो प्राइमरी जो होगा वो दैट्स गोइंग टू बी
Tertiary. Oh, sorry.
प्राइमरी
Primary is SN2. So
SN2
it's
होता
wrong.
है। तो हाँ ये रॉन्ग है, ये ठीक है। SN2 में यही होता है कि इफ इट्स प्राइमरी जैसा क्लोरोइथेन है, तो व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि एक वो टेम्परेरी ट्रांजिशन स्टेट बनती है क्योंकि दी OH आयन डायरेक्टली अटैक्स। तो सब कुछ एक ही टाइम पे हो होता है, OH आ रहा होता है, Cl जा रहा होता है, ठीक है। सो इट डज फॉर्म अ ट्रांजिशन स्टेट, डी ठीक है। अच्छा X, Y and Z are three isomeric alcohols. Separate samples of each alcohol are wound with mild oxidizing agents. One of these alcohols, when dehydrated, will give a pair of cis trans isomers with the molecular formula C5 each 10. अच्छा नहीं, यहाँ पे बस मेरे ख्याल से ये लास्ट जो 7 क्वेश्चन हैं फिर हम अगली दफा करते हैं क्योंकि फिर ज़्यादा डिटेल हो जाएंगे। ये फिर नेक्स्ट क्लास में ना हम कंप्लीट करके अगले पेपर पे मूव कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। क्लियर है?
Okay,
जी
sir.
सर।
तो चलो ठीक है, कल कंटिन्यू करते हैं, ठीक है, सेम टाइम।
Okay, sir. Allah
अल्लाह
Hafiz.
हाफिज।
ओके, टेक केयर।